Hi, and welcome to Ticket to Life. I am Henry, and welcome to all any new listeners. If you're not sure what this podcast is about, it's about life. It's about the ups and the downs, or like I say in many of my podcasts, it's about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because life gives us all sorts of things, and we have to learn to deal with it. And that's what I'm here for. I like to share stories about people who have gone through something, and you yourself may have a story to share. And if you do, please reach out to me. I would love to hear your story. I'm sure other people would love to hear your story. You can reach out to Ticket to Life. Ticket to Life. I know I talk really fast, so I'll try to slow that down. Ticket to Life 022 at gmail.com, or you can send a text message. Um, in the description it says give us a text or something like that, and you can do that too. But I do love to hear from people, and I have had several people ask me to share their stories, and I have. And some people have told me don't know I've shared their stories. And I do change the names to protect the innocent. And you don't even have to give me your real name. That's fine. If you want to be Freddie the Frog or Henrietta Hippo, great. I will say this is from Henrietta Hippo or Freddie the Frog. That was a show back in the, I think, 60s. I forgot the name of it. I just remember those two characters. But anyway, again, thank you for listening and stopping by. I'm so happy that you're here. Today I'm going to be talking about winners and losers. Now, do you feel as though you're a winner? Do you feel like you're a loser? Because honestly, no one's really a loser in my book. And also, I need to tell my new listeners I'm all about being positive, and that whole Pollyanna thing. I think I'm going to legally change my name from Henry to Pollyanna. I do. I try to find positive on many things, and sometimes I get slapped in the face when I'm thinking too positive. But guess what? That's all right. Pick myself up and keep going. But anyway, also the other thing I did want to share with you, and I like to tell everyone, this is just a little disclaimer about Ticket to Life, and that is everything you do here on Ticket to Life. Um, they're all my opinions. They're just my thoughts, and you may agree with some, and you may not. And guess what? That's okay. It's okay not to agree with everyone. And some people have a hard time when they're trying to put something out there for you to understand. And you're like, yeah, but I don't agree with it. Well, you know what? It's your choice. If you want to believe in something that someone else is trying to tell you, great. But anyway, these are my opinions. These are my thoughts. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a love guru. I'm not a therapist. I am Henry, and I'm a mom. I'm a child of God. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. So, you know what? God is good. And I'm all about God too. Sometimes I'm sure some people question some of these podcasts I have. They're a little harsh, like the last podcast I had a few weeks ago or last week. It's called Summer Lovin' and Puberty. Why is she talking about that stuff? And she's all about the Bible because it's life. I mean, I could talk about all sorts of stuff, but I mean, that are not related to life or biblically. But if you find any topic, you're going to find something in the Bible about it. You may not understand it, you may have to dissect what it means, but there is usually something about something you may be happening in your life, and you're going to find something in the Bible about it. You just do. So, anyway, again, today we're talking about winners and losers. And do you feel as though you're a winner, or do you feel like you're a loser? Has anyone ever called you a loser? First of all, that would hurt my feelings. And I'm sure someone has called me loser sometime in my life. Maybe behind my back, because people are always too chicken or too scared to tell someone you're such a loser, unless of course they're mad and getting nasty with them. But I think it's for me. I like people to know what's on my mind. If I don't agree with them, and I think it's going to cause some chaos or somebody throwing something at someone, I just try to bite my lip. And that is the other thing I need to let you new listeners know. Things just come out of my mouth sometimes, and I'm like, oh, did I really say that? But that's been happening for the last, let's see, I'm 67. So I was probably, hopefully, talking by 2.5. So I've probably been doing that since I was 2. So many moons that I have been letting things and thoughts come out of my mouth. And that's okay because that's who I am. But I am a little bit more cautious now about what I say because I don't like to hurt people's feelings. And I know that I have. And it's not intentional because I would just don't want to hurt people's feelings. Um, Speaking of feelings, and then I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. I do that a lot too. Winners and losers. I went to a crawfish boil a few weeks ago, and I'm going to share something, and it's kind of private, but it's not, but it's very personal. Um, it's been about 6 years, 10 years ago. A group of girls, young ladies, adults, we went to the beach. It was quite a few of us, like 17, and we went to Gulf Shores, and it was great. We had a great time, but again, something spewed from my mouth to someone I had just met because I was a friend of a friend who came, and that was fine. And I said something, and I honestly don't remember what I said, but I know it was hurtful. And this person left. They left early. And I thought, oh my gosh, what, I'd said something. I didn't call her name or anything. I just remember I said something and it was hurtful. Well, of course, she unfriended me, didn't talk to me anymore. And that was fine because I didn't really know her that well. Well, she was at the crawfish boil and we said hi and we hugged each other, and it started coming back to me of it was something stupid that I said. And I really can't tell you what it was. It was something about, I'm sure it was just spewing, being rude. No, I wasn't drunk or I was of sound mind. Anyway, I said something. And when I saw her at this crawfish boil, I thought, I hurt her feelings. And yeah, it may have been 10 years ago. So I mentioned to one of the other girls that was there. And I said, should I go apologize? And she goes, no. Why? That was so long ago. But you know what? I needed to. I don't remember what it was, and she didn't either. And I went up to her and I said, do you remember the beach trip? She goes, yeah, that was so much fun. And well, maybe she didn't say that. Maybe I said that. But and I said something that upset you at the beach, and I don't remember what it was. I said, I need to ask you to forgive me. And she looked at me and she says, Henrie, I forgive you. I don't remember. I don't really remember. And I said, yeah, but I know I did something that upset you. And I just wanted to ask you to forgive me. And she hugged me. Now I'm getting all emotional. She hugged me and she said, I forgive you. And I just thought, that's all it was. It was something dumb I said. And I just needed to ask her for forgiveness. Because a lot of times we say things and then we hopefully hope the people that we say it to will sweep it under the rug and forget about it. And I mean, a lot of people do that. I'm sure I have done that where someone has said something and I'm just like, oh, well, that's who they are. But when I said it, I realized I felt so much better because I guess deep inside, I knew I had hurt her feelings and I said something. Now she's a mom and has 2 little ones. And anyway, if you need to tell someone to ask them for forgiveness, you need to do it. I was watching The Chosen again, and it was something that was said in the show, and they said forgiving someone is a gift. And I felt like she gave me a gift because she forgave me. But anyway, so on to winners and losers. Yeah, what a topic. Here I'm getting all emotional and talking about, I needed to ask for forgiveness. And I'm going to talk about winners and losers. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know it is a gift. And I felt like it was a gift for her to forgive me. So are we going to become best friends? I don't think so. But if I have ever hurt anyone's feelings and I need to ask for forgiveness, you need to let me know because I will ask for it because sometimes we just say things and don't realize what's coming out of our mouth. So tell me, how do you feel? Do you feel as though you're a winner or a loser? Uh, I feel like everyone is a winner. And that's just me as a mom, I guess, and a wife. I feel like we have bad days. And I was like, oh, I feel like such a loser. This just happened today and this. I couldn't do anything right. But when something doesn't go right, that doesn't make us a loser. That's just part of life. I mean, some things you may be working on this big contract at work or some big project or a teacher or some sort of important job. All jobs are important and you just can't get it through to that person that you need to make the proposal to or whatever to the classroom. They're just not getting it. And you start questioning your ability of doing this job and start thinking negative thoughts about yourself. And sometimes people start considering themselves losers and they throw in the towel and it's like, I can't do this anymore. When deep inside, we are all winners. You're making that position that you feel you're not doing well in, you're there. People look up to you and people should respect you for any job you have. And sometimes they just don't. But that doesn't make you a loser. Some people can be envious of you because they're not taking the initiative. They're not taking the responsibility of teaching or creating whatever the proposal was or whatever it is you're doing. Now, I'm even talking about fast food workers. They are out there making fast food for us to eat. Could I do it? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you may go to one fast food place and they're just like slow, but you always have to give those people the benefit of the doubt. How long have they been there? Some people may do a double shift. Some people are just learning, just like we had to learn. But at the end, we are all winners. We're doing a job. We're helping people. They're the fast food employees providing the food that we are ordering. Now, sometimes you do get some, and please, no nasty emails from young teens, if teens listen to this, from young teens that are just rude. They don't know, yes, please, and thank you. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of kids don't say thank you or please and open the door for someone. I don't know. Not all of them, but some. But anyway, these people, all people that work to do certain things, they are winners because they are getting up each and every day to do something for their family, for themselves, putting themselves through school. And those are tough times. Very tough. But they are winners. So a lot of people consider winners are the ones that just, everything just goes their way. Oh, man, just every single thing, the relationships, their jobs, the cars, their homes, everything is their way. But don't think they didn't have to work for it because they did. And if they do, they're a winner. Of course, then there are some people who tend to think, oh, such losers. Have you seen the car they drive? You see where they live? Oh my God, if you see the way their kids dress. They're not losers. These are people who may be going through setbacks, may have lost their jobs, they're struggling in life. And some people don't understand that some people just struggle and struggle and struggle, just trying to make ends meet. Not everyone can make six figures. I mean, this podcast, I have no sponsors. I make zero. I get on here and I just want to talk to people. And thank you all for listening and sharing my opinions and my thoughts. And so when I do get an email or I do get a thing could you make a podcast on this or that? I am thrilled because that's my thanks. Because I do have people listening. I may have podcasts where people, well, I don't think I have any that are like 5, but let's say they only have 5 downloads. I feel like, yes, I have 5 people that listen to a certain podcast. And it makes me feel good that someone is listening, and I hope I'm helping. But that doesn't make me a loser just because, oh, one certain podcast had 5. Again, not one of mine just has 5 downloads. But anyway, I just want everybody to know that no one should consider anyone in life a loser. We take so much for granted in our life. If we have a job, if we have a wonderful relationship, and if you believe in God, I can honestly tell you things will change. But sometimes it's just hard to, and I will, if you are having a hard time in life, and I'm going to say, just tell God, I'm going to give this over to you. I need for you to help me. But you got to mean that. When you give things to God and say, I need your help, you got to let it go. Let it go. You've got to literally let it go. Because you will eventually get an answer. It may not be the answer you want, but you will get an answer. And you will realize, I'm not a loser. And I hate that. I hate that people label people. What is with labeling now? You have to be labeled. You got to fit in a certain category. And I'm sorry, I probably will upset people there, but I don't like the whole pronoun thing. First of all, I feel like we're born him, her, done. And if you decide to become a her to a him and a him to her, that's your business. But still, identify as one or the other. It's too confusing for me, first of all. I have no problem if that's what you need to do with your life, as long as you're happy. Does that make anyone a loser? No. It makes them a winner because they're doing something they feel the need to do and they want to do. Do I agree with it? No, not really. But you know what? It is what it is. I feel like we're all children of God, and I feel like He made us one way, and that's a big gift. When someone makes you this person, you just stay that way. You know, don't give me any grief. I have gay friends. I don't have any transgender friends. And you're all going to wonder why. Well, I wonder why. No, I don't mean that. I accept anyone for who they are. Because you know what? As long as you're happy, that's all that matters in life. We have to take responsibility in everything that we do. And sometimes people that think they're losers, they think that they need to change who they are. Now, if you're a mean and hateful person, yes, you need to change who you are. But it's a matter of people just being and feeling good about themselves. Because you need to learn to feel good about what you do. What you do and who you are. I think it is so important when you can learn to accept yourself for who you are and just be happy with it. And don't worry about what other people are going to say. Because what people are going to say is not going to make you happy. It's going to make you sad. And people can be mean and people can be hateful. But just love who you are. I don't love myself, but I do like myself. And if you can love yourself, great. I mean, I'm not sure what to love yourself is one thing, but I think I like who I am. I like where I am in life. And I've said this so many times. If I were to die tomorrow, I would die happy. God has blessed me so much. So anyway, I don't think anyone is a loser, but if you do have teens or kids in school, talk to them. My whole thing in any relationship, be it family, husband, wife, husband, just have that open communication. Because it is so important. And if you have kids, you've got to talk to them. The podcast I just did about puberty, it's just talking about how awkward we are, because we are awkward when we start going through puberty. That's when you know how you're feeling and what your body's feeling and different things. And it's a good feeling, but it's not, it's awkward. But talk to your kids, because there are certain kids who their bodies will mature sooner than others. And those are the kids that not either one. If a girl's body develops sooner than another girl, both of them could be teased. You're such a loser. Look what you look like. You look mutant because you got boobs. Or you're such a loser. You don't have boobs. It's a win-lose situation. It's a lose-lose situation. That's what that is. But it is important to talk to your kids and let them know they're going to develop and they're going to be great and they are not losers, because kids are mean. Some, not all children, but kids, I've seen it. They can be mean to other kids. Why? I don't get that. Are they learning this at home? I hope not. Are they learning this from social media? Maybe. But it is so important for us to know that we are not losers, that we can't quit because something discourages us. Now, I've known people where everything is going their way. Everything. I mean, life is grand. Then all of a sudden, they have that setback and they are at a loss. They do not know what to do. So that is the negative about being a winner. Then all of a sudden, it goes down. We all have dreams, and I really believe that we should try to follow our dreams. But, okay, like we have a friend, and his dad passed away, and he left him a good inheritance. Well, he decided he wanted to travel. So guess what he's been doing for the last 2 years? Traveling. Well, now he's moving out of the U.S. and he is moving to another country. Well, he's going to be still a U.S. citizen, but he's got a house in another country, and he felt bad because he's like, guys, I feel so bad. I'm moving, and I told you I wouldn't sell the house anytime soon. And we said, no, you're living the dream. If you can live the dream, live it. But always have Christ in your life. I mean, it will really, really help you. We need to focus on the positive that we do have in our life when we feel like we're not achieving anything, because we all do have positives. Honestly, if you're listening to this podcast, there is your positive. Not that you're listening to me, but that you're listening to, that you're able to hear. That you're able to hear this on a computer, on a phone, in the car. That's awesome. That's a winner. And you might think I'm crazy, but there are some people that don't have a phone, a car, a radio. They have no idea what this is. Why? Because they live in a foreign country? They live in a third world country? No, because they can't afford it. It's hard living here in America. I mean, because honestly, we are always trying to keep up with the Joneses or the Sanchez's or the Smiths or the Hernandez. No. But anyway, it is tough. We're always trying to keep up with people, and if we could go back in time and just be satisfied with what we have and who we are, that would be so amazing. Again, some people are very confident and they may not have anything, but they know that they are blessed, and their confidence is amazing because it carries with them. And then you have the people who have no confidence, and that's just who they are. They're quiet, subdued, and people are like, what's wrong with them? Nothing. They're just quiet, and everybody starts labeling them. Maybe he's just a loser. Maybe she's just a loser. She's dated several guys. Well, no one knows what he's going through because he doesn't tell anyone. Well, you know what? We can tell people whatever we want to tell them, And I'm sure plenty of people lie about being winners. And then you hear about these people who said, I was such a loser growing up. And you're like, were you? Because you're a millionaire now. you know, I don't think you were a loser. You had your mindset, and maybe some of us had hard times growing up, but we can always change our path. Remember, take the narrow road, not the wide, not the big road, because with the narrow road, you're going to have those obstacles. But you can get to the end of the road. The large road, you're going to have major obstacles because sometimes we want the shortcut. And if the large road's going to take you someplace quicker, some people like to cut corners. If that makes sense. It's in the Bible. Anyway, so this is Henry, and this is kind of a podcast of winners and losers, but it's about everything else, I guess, about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I hope that you are having a good summer so far. I do have a podcast that I did summer loving and puberty. Then I have summer 2025, which are some things to do with your family if you have little ones, or you know what, if you're single and you get to hang out by a pool or just hang out in a wading pool, good for you. But anyway, I hope that everyone is having a good day today. And I also wanted to let you know that Ticket to Life is on every new podcast comes out every Tuesday. And then on Thursdays on WDJY 99.1 FM in Atlanta, Georgia, you can hear the podcast. But again, the podcast is on every single, not every single, but the main ones, iHeart Radio, Spotify, Apple. It's on all of those if you care to ever listen. But again, I would like to thank all of you for being here. And I think you're all winners. You may have some tough times and feel like you're a loser, but guess what? You're not. You are a child of God. And I want to thank you so much for listening to Ticket to Life. And I want you to know you are worth your weight in gold. So this is Henry. Until next week, I hope you can go find your blessings. And I can't wait to see you next week. Thanks for listening.